What's up, people? Uh, that's Michael. I'm Leroy. This is a Nerdy by Nature Productions, the We Trying channel. Hopefully, this would make 4 weeks in a row that you get to see us. Um, we're starting a trend. We're recording this because I have to work Saturday.
Mhm.
We're recording this Thursday morning. I have to work Saturday for the SoCon semifinals at one of the jobs I work at. So I don't. Uh, Either way, so we're recording this. I wanted to talk the Warner Brothers Paramount deal with Michael. We talked about the deal before when we thought Netflix was going to buy it. Come to find out, Paramount was not done. They were given another chance to give 4 days their offer. Netflix said, "I'm out," and now it looks like Warner Brothers is going to be bought by Paramount. The deal hasn't gone through yet. Yeah, I saw that. I don't
That
know
was
what that
weird.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
Oh, wait.
you know who that was?
What was that?
That
That's
was
Warner
the gov.
Brothers?
Yep, that was Warner Brothers and David Zaslav, friend of the show.
Okay.
Trying to, but I wanted to talk about it because more information has come out. I wanted to give time to breathe, and we want to talk about something happy. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this ain't gonna be a happy conversation because I have some mixed emotions. So let's start at the beginning. When you heard that Netflix was no longer buying Warner Brothers or the part of Warner Brothers, what did you think initially when you first heard it, and how did
I,
you
I
find out
wasn't
about it?
surprised. I was probably working on a show and it
Mhm.
popped on the wire. AP dropped the thing that said Netflix backs out a deal, um, essentially securing the purchasing power for Paramount to pick it up with Netflix backing out. But I wasn't surprised because just on cash alone, and I won't pretend to be a financial expert, but just on cash alone, Warner Paramount seemed like a better deal for Warner Brothers because they were already offering more money in their like first offer, or like maybe their second offer or something like that. And then they raised it up again. It's like, oh yeah, Netflix doesn't seem like they really want to do all that. So I wasn't surprised that that happened. Um,
Okay, interesting you say that.
I was just like, okay. I wasn't happy that it was happening. And to be perfectly honest, I would have liked it
Hmm.
if Warner Brothers could have done its own thing and not be bought by either person.
Agreed.
Because I
Agreed.
don't think them being bought is the best thing for, as much as they say, oh, it'll create more jobs. I don't feel that to be the case.
Okay.
I think there's going to be consolidation for sure, um, and just one studio having all access to all of that media rights does not seem like a good idea for me in terms of creativity and individuality in studios. I don't think it's good.
To quote the great philosopher Kanye West,
Oh no.
no one man should have all that power.
Okay.
Um, yes, the great philosopher Kanye West.
Hmm.
Um, I was shocked that the deal that Netflix did not go through because I thought the better deal was for just the properties Netflix was after, which was
Better deal for who?
I thought it was a better deal for the movie division that was Warner Brothers, the gaming division, and DC Comics. I thought for that because the difference in the deal was Netflix was only going to buy. So let's back up. Warner Brothers Discovery was going to split with the linear cable television being spun off with the debt of Warner Brothers to one company, while the other side of it would be the film studio, the gaming division, DC, and HBO. All of that would have been another company. Netflix was only looking to buy the company that makes sense, the film company, the stuff that actually matters, not the linear cable television. I thought that was a better deal. Um, I have been proven to be wrong. Warner Brothers said we want that deal, and David Zaslav is being crowned as a great deal maker because he was able to flip, according to some reports, flipped the Netflix deal to get a better deal from Warner Brothers, and
From
now
Paramount.
from Paramount for Warner Brothers.
Okay, for
And
Warner.
now he has sold, and other executives are looking to sell their stock because there's only a certain window where you could sell your stock so that it's not considered insider trading. He's going to sell $110 million worth of Warner Brothers stock for almost close to $800 million. He is, after this deal, probably going to be a billionaire. So, friend of the show and enemy of the show, David Zaslav, congrats. You turned out to be a great deal maker. Terrible CEO, great deal maker.
Yeah.
So I was shocked that this deal happened. There was some big pushback against the Netflix deal from James Cameron. We saw that. I was initially shocked, and then I thought about it and I realized what was going on, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And so Monday we had the investors call. Do you remember what happened at the investors call? Or do you have it pulled up, like all the?
No.
Okay,
No.
so I'm going to pull it up. Excuse me. Hold on, because there's some images that were put on screen, and everybody was like, "What?"
Mhm.
And I find it interesting that they had this stuff up and how quickly they were able to get it up. But then I also remember they'd been trying to buy this for a while. So they had probably already had a lot of these images. Hold on. Let me just go to Paramount's website. Because I found a couple of things on it very interesting. Where is these pictures? So here's the deal. HBO Max and Paramount Plus will be combined into one service. 15 films per studio with a 45-day theatrical windows for each film. Merged company will have approximately $79 billion in debt. $6 billion in cost cutting, including consolidation on tech infrastructure, real estate, corporate overheads, and more. No plans to spin off any of their cable assets. Flexibility to put sports like UFC on any cable network. Will continue to license movies and TV shows to other studios and platforms.
The thing that you're reading now, is there grasp with this, or is it just like words?
This is words.
Okay, got it.
I pulled it up. I'm looking for the image.
Got it.
Because they actually had like a presentation, but I can't find the actual blue stills that these were actually written on. I can only find the breakdown in an article.
Got it.
So AI will be a tool for artists, but never a replacement for storytellers. Those are the highlights. So as I say that, what comes to mind when I read all of that?
I mean, it just sounds like a monopoly more than anything.
Okay.
It sounds to me like just one company taking over everything and having too much access to do whatever you want. Then being able to keep all the news networks is alarming in terms of journalistic independence and having more voices out there to call out BS.
Put a pin on that, because I want to talk about an interview that was done by one of the investors who had a very concerning quote. So remember that for later when we get to the interview with Gary Cardinal.
Okay. No, I mean, that's it. I mean, it's just going back to the great philosopher Kanye West. No one man should have all that power. It's just so many things that they're going to be able to have their tendrils in to touch whatever.
Yeah. So when I heard all of this and when I read all of this, do you remember the meme of the little boy cursing when he was like, bullshit? And he wasn't supposed to be cursing. He was like a small child. And he just kept saying BS over and over again. He kept saying bullshit, bullshit. I immediately screamed, this is all BS. I was like, this is all BS, because let's take the big thing. I was glad that Netflix agreed to the 45-day theatrical window for each film. I thought that was a win. I firmly believe these studios and streaming services have killed the theater experience because they have been so quick to take their films out of the theater on the streaming service or pay-per-view, go back to the 45-day window, make the movie-going experience something that people crave, desire, that community feel, because that will help you in the long run. So I love that idea. What I thought was ludicrous was for both studios at the same time to release 15 movies and support 15 movies each. Ludicrous for a theatrical window. Mm-hmm. Paramount doesn't do 15 movies now. So when you look at both of their slates, 15 movies to me seemed untenable. To create 15 films, get 15 films out there, and to promote and market 15 films correctly. Now, keep in mind, 2025 is a great year for Warner Brothers, coming off of Sinners, One Battle After Another, Frankenstein. I'm trying to think of what else. I think Hamnet is A24. But they had a great year. So I don't want to knock Warner Brothers. They had an excellent year for 2025. And they had a big year in 2022. What year was Barbenheimer? Was that 22 or was that 23? So Warner Brothers had been coming back film-wise as far as like
2023.
2023. Okay, so 2023 was a good year. 2025 was a good year. Warner Brothers was doing well, which goes back to your point to saying, did they have to do this? They did because of the linear television. And then you turned around and were bought by Paramount, and you now have $79 billion in debt. Now, the reason why that number is so important is because, Michael, you remember when we talked about the Warner Brothers Discovery deal after the AT&T split, and how much debt
vaguely,
and how much debt they had then? They had $55 billion in debt.
So they didn't really cut anything. They just had, well, actually,
they did. They cut it to about $33.5 billion at the end of 2025. Now, I don't know if you remember what happened that first couple of years when that debt was $55 billion.
What year was that?
7 years ago was when they merged.
Oh, I mean, was that pandemic?
It was right before the pandemic, because remember, pandemic is when they did Day and Date on HBO Max. Then after that, subsequently, they said, we're not going to call it HBO Max because we just call it Max. And they went through that whole thing and they went back to it. But do you remember all of the layoffs and all of the films and all of the consternation around content?
Yeah.
We lost Batgirl, Acme versus the World. Was it Acme versus, what was it called? Acme?
I don't know, but that's finally coming out now, supposedly.
How many years later?
I mean, yeah, a long time.
And so, like, when you look at the content and what happened as they were they were leasing content to other platforms, laying off staff.
Coyote versus Acme.
Coyote versus Acme. Thank you. They were literally shelving things and writing off on taxes. And not only that, they were leasing content to other platforms, and now some of the content you can't even find. Remember when Westworld left the platform?
Mm-hmm.
Where's Westworld streaming right now?
Is it streaming anywhere?
It was on Tubi.
Yeah, I don't know that it still is.
It was on Tubi for a while. If you go to justwatch.com, it'll tell you where it is. Now you can buy the seasons, but to find it streaming, who
Mhm.
knows? So that was what they were doing when they were $55 billion in debt.
Yeah.
They're $79 billion in debt.
And to be fair, that is a combination of both studios. That's not like that was all Warner Brothers,
Nope. But
but it's
that's
together, but which is still crazy.
that's 79. That is more than it costs to buy Activision Blizzard.
It does. Yeah.
So the debt is concerning because, according to, I have the article right here. This is an article that's by Reuters. Um, Harshita Mary Varghese. Paramount debt to hit $79 billion after Warner Brothers deal. No plan to sell cable assets. Hold on. The acquisition is expected to save more than $6 billion in costs, with a big share coming from non-labor sources by clubbing streaming technology stacks and cloud providers of companies, among others. The savings target is much higher than Netflix's promised synergy goal of as much as $3 billion and had sparked fears of layoffs and shrinking of TV and film production by combined Warner Paramount. What that means is that everybody is scared that this merger is at least $6 billion of savings has to happen. There's estimation from different sources that says it has to be at least 16 billion. Where's that money coming from?
People paychecks.
Now, Gary Cardinal of Redbird Capital is one of the investors in buying Warner Brothers Discovery. He is one of the investors who helped the Ellisons in acquiring Paramount. He did an interview with a podcast called The Town with Matt Belloni. Bellany. I don't want to butcher this man's name, but I like his podcast. He's a Hollywood reporter. He does a lot of great interviews. You should check him out. He also did a very good interview of the CEO of Sony. It was a two-parter at AFI. Amazing interview. And the reason why I bring that up is he had talked to Gary Cardinal in the past, and it wasn't contentious, but he did a very good job of interviewing him.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I bring that up is because here's Gary's portfolio. He is the founder, managing partner, and chief investment officer of Redbird Capital Partners. Redbird manages $14 billion of assets on behalf of a select group of blue-chip institutional and family office investors. The firm's current and prior investment portfolio includes many of the world's most iconic entrepreneurs, properties, and brands across sports, media, and entertainment industries. Notable investments include Fenway Sports, Boston Red Sox, Liverpool FC, Pittsburgh Penguins, New England Sports Network, Skydance Media, and its acquisition of Paramount Global, which now is Paramount Global and Warner Brothers. Artist Equity, that's the group that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck created. AC Milan, Yankees Entertainment and Sports, that's the Yes Network, New York Yankees and Amazon, and the UFL with The Rock. The reason why I read all of that is because this man is not stupid when it comes to money.
Nope.
This man is probably a billionaire or very close to it.
Right.
So I say this is that private equity is involved in buying and helping this deal happen, which also means they want their money and they want their investment to pay off. And in order for that to happen, certain things have to happen in order for them to get the return on their investment. And one of those things is they need to cut some costs.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. What do we think that cost means?
I mean, the quickest way is jobs.
Yep. Now, he did an interview. You can go watch it yourself. However, I do want to point out some of the things that were said in this interview. Matt brought up. Hold on, I'm getting to it. How is this different from the Warner Brothers Discovery leverage buyout, which is essentially what that was, because they had some pretty lofty predictions of where their revenue would be and that they would be able to pay down their debt? Here's what Gary said. Well, look, as you point out, I mean, synergies were not the problem in the original Warner Discovery merger. I mean, they got it to $3 billion of cost savings up front, and by the end of 2023, they were looking at $4 billion in realized savings excluding content. So, cost savings. The challenge for that deal is the cost savings were offset, as you know, by declines in their linear revenue. Right. I mean, they started at $24 billion down to 21. But how was that different from you? You've inherited that melting iceberg, and you now have all of these other cable networks that you've thrown on top of it. Gary, right. Our linear portfolio is not comparable, number one. And importantly, it includes CBS. The CBS broadcast network, as you know, is the best in class. We 8 of the top 10 shows on TV are ours, and that reach will continue. That reach is, very synergistic in terms of partnerships that we have on the programming side, particularly with live sports and news. Our sports portfolio is best in class. It rivals ESPN. What did you get from that?
He didn't answer the question.
Yep. What else?
He talked about CBS, which is great, but the CBS that is now not what it once was. So
keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, those are just my initial thoughts. Like he didn't answer the question. He just talked about CBS, and they're like, CBS is not what it once was. So I don't know.
So
also, as he says that, he says they have the top shows, which they do. See, when we worked for a CBS affiliate, they were like, CBS was the place for number one shows, comedies, dramas, all that stuff. NCIS, all those spinoffs, all that stuff. But
keep going.
They were already doing so well on CBS. So how do you parlay that into Warner Brothers?
Thank you.
And I'm not saying I don't see how that works, but again, that's above my pay grade. Maybe there is a way. It just doesn't, on paper, that doesn't make sense.
I'm going to go with the simplest answer usually is the correct answer. And you said it in the beginning. He did not answer the question.
Yeah.
If Warner Brothers Discovery had $55 billion in debt, and you now have $79 combined billion in debt of owning 2 movie studios and all of these, they kept saying these linear, basically cable channels. Linear television is cable channels, broadcast channels and cable channels. How do you get this debt down? The only way you get this debt down is by making, to quote Beyonce, somebody said, ask Beyonce, how do you get to be Beyonce? And Beyonce's answer was, make dope shit. So if you want to be Beyonce, or you want to have and get out of this hole, you got to make dope shit. But you also have to cut this debt down. The only way to cut that debt down is you've got to cut your spending. And that either means consolidating redundancies, improving things like budgets for movies, bringing down budgets of movies, and cutting people.
Yeah.
You now own 2 giant movie studios.
I think they are 2 of the original 5, right?
Yep. You own 2 of the legacy studios.
Yeah.
The reason why I bring that up is we both have lamented for years David Zaslav's tenure as CEO because of the cost-cutting measures he was doing and what that was doing to the actual storytelling and the content that they were producing. One of my recent favorite shows is an animated show. It's called Final Space. You cannot find that anymore unless you have a physical copy. That is just one of the things that David Zaslav did when he took over. They got rid of a lot of stuff and they wrote it off on taxes. They shut down a lot of projects. They cut down on budgets. And he went with a model that was more friendly towards reality television because it was cheaper. He made such a mess of HBO Max, of Warner Brothers, that he lost Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
So I like I said, I bring all of this up is because that debt is a big deal, and that debt is going to control going forward how this company operates. Another thing that I think people are not hearing is Paramount's stock was rated junk. Their credit rating is now junk. You trade stocks, you're on apps and you look at that. What does it mean when you're a junk stock or your credit rating is junk?
Oh man, you put me on the spot. I do not know the technical term or what it is, like what the ratings are.
But what
I
I'm saying is,
can tell you this: it ain't good.
boom, it ain't good. Is it AAA?
It's not AAA.
Is it AA?
It ain't AA.
Is it even double Bs?
Nah, you in
Is it
the,
triple Bs?
You in the G League now. You out here. It's not a good look.
So you have $79 billion in debt. Your credit rating was just downgraded to junk. What that also means is that in order for you to borrow money, you have to pay extra interest. And here's the other part of it that I think is something that a lot of people are not paying attention to. Well, you know what? I take that back. People are paying attention to. Do you know who one of the backers to this deal is? We've talked about them before.
Is it beyond besides the Ellison people?
Yep.
Is it Saudi Arabia?
Yep.
Oh, well, there we go.
Did you know that before I said it?
No, but when you did that, it kind of prompted my mind. So is that like Saudi Arabia through Kushner and all that stuff?
It's the Saudi Arabia sovereign.
Their fund.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm pulling it up now. Hold on. There's a list of who all is involved in the. I have so many tabs open. It's embarrassing. Hold on. I had it open a second ago. I don't know where it went. Oh, here we go. Okay. So here are Larry Ellison, Oracle co-founder and father of David Ellison. He provided the majority of the equity financing, including a personal guarantee of $40 billion. Redbird Capital, led by Gary Cardinal, private equity firm, Foreign Sovereign Wealth Funds, that is the Saudi Arabia PIF, Public Investment Fund, the Qatar Investment Authority, and the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority. Financial institution debt financing was provided by Bank of America, Citigroup, and Apollo Global Management. The reason why I bring that up is because right now there are articles being written about what does it mean for a foreign entity to buy a media company and news organization. We know the history of the Saudi Arabia Sovereign Investment Fund. It is called sports washing, where they wash their money. That's literally why they made Live Golf. These people have an abundance of money. So that the reason why I bring them up is here's why the deal may work out, and here's why it may not work out. It may work because Saudi Arabia Investment Fund has money to burn. They can fund this, and they could say, we don't care about getting our money back.
Mm-hmm.
So they could keep putting money in it. The other side of it is this could become a losing, sinking ship because Gary Cardinal on the podcast with Matt on The Town talked about when Matt pressed him about the Saudi Investment Fund and whether or not these people would have a seat on the board. He said at this time, no. You don't give $25 billion without having a say on how that money is spent. Redbird does not just give money willy-nilly. These people are about making their money back. So how long does a company continue on this trajectory of not making money, not getting a return on their investment before they say, you need to put up or shut up? Also, how much can this company, this combined company, actually produce? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. Do you own Paramount Plus?
Not anymore. Had to think about it. Nope, not anymore.
I have not had Paramount Plus since we had it since we worked at CBS.
Yeah, correct.
I have not had it since then. There is
No.
nothing that has made me get Paramount Plus, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no intentions of buying Paramount Plus.
I will say I did enjoy watching all the Star Wars stuff. Not Star Wars. People are going to kill me. The Star Trek stuff.
I did too.
And I would like to finish Brave New Worlds, but not enough to get
Strange New World.
See, I can't even. I'm yeah, it's late. Strange New Worlds. That and whatever the
Lower Decks.
no, not that one. Discovery. I think there were 5 seasons total. I got through 4 of them, and I didn't get the 5th season.
If they continue to do what they did in the past, they are putting them on physical, on Blu-ray, and you can check them out at the library. So there is that. So, and also there are limited runs of Amazon having them on Amazon Prime, and that's how I was able to watch The Lioness. Now, Paramount has the Taylor Sheridan universe. It did take them a while to get all of that back because remember, they leased that to
Peacock
NBC,
has some of it for a little bit.
NBC Universal. So the only way for you to watch Yellowstone was on Peacock. But they've rectified that. But now Taylor Sheridan is left. Now Paramount has secured the Duffer Brothers of Stranger Things fame, but it's taken them over 10 years to just do 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So who knows when we'll ever see whatever they make. The reason why I bring that up is because I am not knocking Gary's acumen when it comes to making money. That is not what I'm here to do. What I am saying is, during that interview, that little bit that I just talked about, Mike was able to suss out. He did not answer the question. He did a lot of that in this 20 minutes that he talked to Matt about. But what I will say is, this man is not stupid. He is here to make money. But it seemed to be in his interview, he is talking not like a person who owns a movie studio. He's talking like a businessman who is trying to make and get the most out of this asset. One of the things he said over and over again, and he spoke in that corporate money speak. He doesn't talk like a regular person. But when you are probably worth billions of dollars, you don't talk like a regular person. He kept saying IP monetization. A couple other things.
No.
Yep.
When you say that, that reminds me of Bobby Kotick, and there was a word he used to use. I don't know if it was an annual. It was some word he used about talking about studios or talking about the games they made, and it just seemed so soulless and life-sucking, and it's like, oh, this isn't great for Activision.
That's exactly how Gary talks.
Yeah.
And I'm not. This is what I'm saying. So when I first heard the deal, and I first heard all of these particulars, I was done out. I was like, this is the worst thing ever. And then I listened to this interview. I listened to a couple of interviews. Matt did a. Hold on, I'm trying to pull it up now. And don't just listen to me. Go listen to. I'm pulling it up now. Okay. Hold on. Matt Maloney, The Town. He interviewed also Rich Greenfield from Lightshed Partners. Go listen to him and Gary Cardinal's interview on The Town. Great interviews. Rich was more honest, and Matt pressed him on this. And Rich was basically saying, the only way to get this down is you have to cut jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring it back to Gary, who was very much like, oh, no, we can do this through IT and all this other stuff. This man is about making money. Nowhere in this interview did he talk about the creative storytelling that Warner Brothers had. Nowhere in this interview did he talk about the movies that they actually had. He talked about the IP,
Right.
the brands. You brought up news. Here's one of the quotes that he said, and I'm not taking it out of context. You talked when we talked about CBS, and you mentioned how CBS is viewed now. Matt brought up Barry Weiss. Is Barry Weiss going to be taking over? And because guess who else works for Redbird? And this is where the conversation got to Barry. Jeff Zucker is an executive at Redbird. Do you remember who Jeff Zucker is?
I do not.
Jeff Zucker used to run CNN. Jeff Zucker had to resign, remember, when that report came out. They had an inappropriate relationship, consensual, with someone who worked underneath him. And then he left, and then CNN has not been the same since. Jeff Zucker came from NBC. I think he was the morning show producer for the Today Show, and then he rose to prominence. And Gary was non-committal on whether or not Jeff would be taking over the news divisions. And that's when Matt pressed him about Barry Weiss. And Gary said, I think Barry's fantastic. And I was like, oh, you're not. And it was almost like a meme. Read the room, bro.
Yeah, sure.
Like, because Matt brought up, she lost Anderson Cooper. And this is where, and I want to say this, but I can't read it without seeing your face. But I'm going to read it. And guys, you tell me what Michael's face looks like after I read this. When Matt brought up the talent and that you're in a talent business, and talent, you have to respect the talent. Gary said what's gotten lost here is some of these individuals on the talent side think they are the brand. Okay, the brand is the IP and the brand is the institution. Michael, what do you think about that?
In a much more personal connection that the two of us know about, and I'm not going to name any names, somebody else thought like that.
How'd that work out for them?
They are in a different job. and I wish all the parties involved the best. I do think both the parties are living their best life, but somebody else thought like that, and it did not go as they thought it would go. But they're both living their best life, so maybe it worked out in the end. But a lot of people, and it's tough because at some point you can say, oh, the talent, if the talent isn't great, they can be replaceable. But if people know the talent, a lot of times that is the person that they want to see doing something, and you just replacing them with somebody else does not mean you're going to get the same results.
And that means for everything. The talent is what draws you. The talent is what helps you be drawn into the storytelling. Whether it's news, whether it's film, whether it's television, you have to have top-notch talent because the talent is what sells you on the story. You can have great writing and terrible actors or terrible anchors. Are people watching that? Michael, you're a good writer. How many times have you written a show and you've had someone anchor your show and they don't read it the way you wrote it and it changes the meaning of what you wrote?
No comment. Nope, not doing that.
But here's a man, again, I'm not knocking Gary. What I'm saying is, this is a man who's about making money. This is a man who has helped finance Paramount and Skydance when Skydance was just a regular movie studio and production company, or production company that was making movies. Now, they have some hits behind them. I personally like what Skydance made. I personally like the relationship that they developed with Tom Cruise and the stuff that he's made. outside of Tom Cruise's personal life, Tom Cruise is a very good advocate for Hollywood.
Hmm.
But there's a difference between owning a production company on a smaller scale to owning two of the largest legacy studios, linear broadcast and cable television networks. And the reason why I bring that up is because when Skydance bought Paramount, do you remember how many job losses they had within the first year?
No.
2,000.
Jeez. Okay.
Here's an article from NBC News. Paramount Skydance begins layoffs, plans to slash about 2,000 jobs. The widely anticipated layoffs come just months after the Trump administration greenlit creating the company following Skydance's bid for the storied entertainment group. The layoff will initially impact more than 1,000 employees. About 1,000 more employees are expected to be laid off in the near future, making the total cuts amount to 10% of the roughly 20,000 employees at Paramount Skydance. So that's 2,000 jobs lost just from Skydance and Paramount joining together. How many job losses do you think is going to take place?
Oh man, I mean that's going to be, who knows.
Yep.
I'm
And
curious when the 2000. We don't know what the percentage of that was. Like what it equates to a percentage of job loss.
it's at 10%.
10%. Okay.
And here's the other part, which a lot of people, this is an article from Yahoo Finance that was originally on Fortune. 600 Paramount Skydance employees quit instead of returning to office, and it cost the company $185 million filing show. So remember when there was that return to work edict that was launched to get people back to work? And a lot of people, if you don't know why there was an edict to get people back to work, it wasn't just because companies were noticing losses within the company.
Mm-hmm.
Other businesses were affected by us staying home. The real estate market, restaurants, clothing businesses, because you weren't buying clothes to work, to go to work, transportation, gas, fuel. Restaurants were losing money because people weren't going to work, so they weren't going to lunch. You were eating at home. All of that was affected. So there was a huge push from the business community to different companies and the government to get people back to work after the pandemic. And subsequently, we've seen it continue. $200 million were lost of this return to work edict. I don't know how many Warner Brothers employees work from home remotely, but I know it's more than one.
Yeah.
I would wager it's more than two. So I don't know what happens when that comes out and when that edict is laid down. I'm going to go on record of saying I don't believe that this merger is good. And we hadn't even got into the political machinations, because here's the thing that I will say. If you want something bad enough, you're willing to pay whatever it costs to get that. And if the idea behind owning Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount and CBS isn't for the financial gain, it's for shaping how you disseminate media to a particular political leaning, then the cost doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
What I will say is, if the cost matters to the people who put up the money and they want to see a return on their investment, I don't see this whole company staying together past 5 to 7 years. Something has to get sold. Something has to get broken up.
That may be a good stopping point, because we are closing in on 2 a.m. in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we could do a part 2 of this, either live next week or taped if we need to.
Because here's the thing, we hadn't even talked about the IP that Paramount owns, or the IP that Warner Brothers Discovery is bringing over.
Right. So yeah, let's pause it there. This is another test. Swizzle Bizzle Stizzle Smix.
I didn't know what you were going to say.
I didn't either. I just came up with it. I'm curious. I want to see how far people get into these videos. In the comments, if you got this far in the video, write down what you think I've said. Leroy will tally the results.
Yeah, because I got to get to the comments. I meant to talk to the people and check what was said right before this, but I got a little distracted watching these videos because I'm be honest with you. This is the money is fascinating to me.
Sure.
How this deal came together, because we have been talking about this for years on the Warner Brothers Discovery side, and now, excuse me, this has just blown my mind. $79 billion worth of debt. I can't fathom it.
Yeah.
So as a prognosticator of foolishness, because all of this is foolishness, and for Michael, we appreciate you watching. Michael, what got you through the week?
So I didn't realize this movie was out. Wendy told me about it. Have you seen The Bluff or know what The Bluff is?
Oh, that's the pirate movie on Amazon. Yes.
Yes. I didn't know that. I didn't know that existed. We watched it over the weekend. It was fantastic. I mean, I say fantastic. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know anything about it. She knew about it. Yeah, I did not know. We were just trying to find something to watch while we were building Legos, and we stopped on that. I was like, "Oh, Priyanka Chopra's in it. Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm down for that." Oh, it's
Carl
I don't know if it's directed or they just touched it, but dang, now I can't think of who they are.
The brothers.
Yes, the Russo brothers.
Yes.
I was like, "Oh, this is cool."
Yes.
But it was a fun movie. Really smartly choreographed action, which you expect from them. Plot's kind of whatever, but it's a good weekend movie.
What are you talking about? It's a Father's Day movie. A father just wants to reconnect with his long lost love and his kids.
Oh, have you seen it?
Man, I'm just saying, you need to not come after Carl Urban for trying to be a more. He's realizing I've been a bad father. I just want to reconnect with my kids.
Wait, have you seen it?
I haven't finished it, but yeah.
Huh. That's interesting that how you took that, what that means. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a fun movie.
Would you like to review it? See what we're talking about?
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know.
Here's the thing. I think it's a fun movie. I think it's funny because I feel like this is a movie that would have been dropped in January.
Like a shadow drop?
And
Possibly.
I think it's one of those movies where now it's on streaming. I wonder I would love to see the behind the scenes for this, because you're right. I saw the trailer literally 2 to 3 weeks before it dropped. And then I was like, oh, this is out already?
Mm-hmm.
And I was caught off guard, and I've been I want to just sit down and watch it.
Okay. Yeah, you may need to rewatch it again if you think Carl Urban is a dad.
Oh no, I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm just.
I was like, I don't think you were watching the same movie.
No,
okay,
I'm just
Okay. What got you through the week?
Comics, man.
Okay.
So
there's a little Magneto poking out behind you slowly in your green screen. On the other side, yeah, you can see a Magneto kind of behind you there.
Okay.
Do you not have a Magneto comic or something? Yeah, there is.
There's a box right there. So
yeah.
So you guys can't see it, but the background that I have chosen is from the actual Tiny Desk from NPR. And what's behind me is all of my comics that I have to go through. Some of them to sell, some of them to keep. But I went to the library, checked out as many books as I could. So I've been reading and catching up on G.I. Joe. What else did I read? A couple of indie books. And then I went to, if you've gotten this far in the video, go pick up the Dakota Incident, the history of DC Comics. DC is incorporating the milestone characters in DC with the Dakota Incident. Go pick up that issue. They're going to do a second printing. We need to support that book. But it was books like that and DCKO. You would appreciate DC characters are also in DCKO are also fighting wrestlers from AEW. So you would appreciate that. But yeah, comics, man. Punisher's back in Marvel. I'm trying to think of what else. I picked up probably a stack of books about that big.
Sure.
And last week I spoke at the South Carolina African American Archive Commission about the Southern connections of Bitterroot.
Cool.
So yeah, that was fun. So yeah, comics got me through the week, and Paradise is back. So me and the wife are trying to watch that.
Okay. All right, that'll do it for us, folks. We'll be back next week, either live or taped again. We'll figure it out. That's Leroy. I'm Michael. We Tron Channel. We out.
Peace.